Please help me welcome to the podium Geraldine Blousseau to introduce our distinguished speaker.
It is our great privilege and great honor to welcome to our podium His Excellency, Vietnam Ambassador to the United States, Le Con Phung.
The first thing I should do is to extend to you a very, very good afternoon. It's good to be in Seattle, Washington State. I've been involved with Rotary Club for about 15 years. I've been a member of the club. I follow what the club are doing, particularly what the club is doing with Vietnam and its people. I will come back to the Rotary later, but let me ask you to excuse me because in the last 2 days I've been talking so much. With the change of weather, climax in Seattle, I got some problem in my throat, but I try to make it clear as possibly as I can. I was eager to come to Seattle and to attend the luncheon organized by Rotary Club. My people prepared me a long speech as thick as this. But as I come here, I intercomes with you, seeing a lot of dignities, high officials of the state and the city. I can say that I have honor to meet the elite group of state of Washington and of the city of Seattle. So let me change my mind. I'm not going to use this speech. I'll make it short. Because I understand that many of you have learned a lot about Vietnam. You know a lot. Maybe among you, some was in Vietnam during the war. Veterans, maybe in church. Some families have lost their relatives there. So I will be very brief in introducing to you what Vietnam now and what it's doing. You know that after the war, our people suffer a lot. Not the war with you, a long war with the French for 100 years. And then 30 years. In 1975, we thought we could enjoy peace because our people are peace lovers. But again, we got another war with the Pol Pot regime from Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge genocidal regime. And then we get involved with the Chinese war, a short one, but very devastating. After all this happening, our people thought, we must do something. We must make our country strong. We must integrate with the international communities, with the world. The first thing we had to do is to make Vietnam economic strong. That's why at the end of the 80s, we start changing our policy. We're changing our economy orientation. In the past, we were centralized economy and lag behind every country in the world. But since we reform, renovate economy and political society, we have done a good job in the last 20 years. It's good to tell you that in the last 23 years, our growth rate is about 7.5 to 8% annually. And Vietnam now is one of the fastest growing economy in the region after China. And we are considered by our friends near and far that we are the most stable country in Southeast Asia. We haven't got the terrorist activities there yet. Up to this moment, it might be happening any time because terrorists, no one can predict what it's going to do. But up to now, it's stable in Vietnam. We have political, social stability, and thanks to that, we can mobilize the whole people to work for the development of the economy. On the diplomatic relations, we have enjoyed relations with about 186 countries in the world out of 192. We enjoy the trade, economic, investment cooperation with 87 countries and territories. We have access to most major organizations regionally and internationally. We have access to WTO, we have access to APEC, IMF, ASEAN, ASEM, and United Nations. And thanks to support of our friends all over the world, Vietnam has been elected as non-permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations. And thanks to that nomination, we work closer with the United States, because at the Security Council meeting, we always sit next to the U.S. delegation, according to alphabet order. Sometimes we agree with each other, sometimes have a common view and position, sometimes we fight with each other, but we don't want to make it loud. We fight in silence, and we understand each other better. On investment of Vietnam, let me tell you this. We have suffered some things since beginning of 2008 because of price rise in oil and food. Also it also affects Vietnam economy and the financial crisis, dollar weakening. And we suffer something relating to inflation and financial system of Vietnam. But it's good to see at the present situation that we have controlled the inflation. We work out some measures, and we are sure that by the end of next year, we will take inflation down to 1 digit. For the financial crisis here, I think this is very serious. It's likely in the last 2 days, it seems to be better. We hope. It affects Vietnam, oil price, food price. But I can assure that Vietnam can tackle the problem and work it out. Because if the food price rise, it affects a little bit Vietnam, but we are the second biggest rice exporter in the world. This year we are going to export about 4.5 to 0.7 million tons of rice. We are second after Thailand and above the United States. On the oil price, we have good oil and gas. We are building some refinery factories in Vietnam, but if the fuel rise, gas rise, the crude oil rise as well. So mostly we can spread. Financial system in Vietnam is not very much developed and very much integrated with the world system. So we are affected, but not serious as other economies in the world and even in the region of Southeast Asia. Though we got some inflation problem, but investment is increasing in Vietnam. 2007, we attracted about $21 billion from outside coming to Vietnam. From the beginning of 2008 till August, we attracted nearly $30 billion in the 3 months, much higher in compared with the whole year 2007. That tells something. That tells that the foreign investors, still are confident that the economy of Vietnam will overpass the difficulties. And Vietnam still be a good place to put the money in, a good place to engage in business. And particularly with the U.S. business people, from the beginning of this year, the big amount of U.S. money are putting into Vietnam. It's about almost $4 billion from the beginning up to September this year. So, distinguished friends, Vietnam is a good place to visit. Vietnam is the place to do business. Tell you the truth. I've been traveling around the United States tirelessly, talking to people from Montana, Utah, Wisconsin, down to Texas, California, New Mexico. And everywhere I talk to the people, I got the impression that American people are looking forward to visit Vietnam, looking forward to do business with Vietnam. And right here in this state of Washington, there will be 2 trade missions coming to Vietnam. One will be in the next 2 weeks from the state, and one big delegation of about 30 people from the city of Seattle will be going to Vietnam for talk, for finding possibilities, opportunities to do their business there. That's Vietnam. We are going to work, and we'll try to make our country become an industrialized country by 2020. And we need you help and support. The second thing I'd like to talk to you is the U.S.-Vietnam relations. Yesterday I had an excellent luncheon with Peace Tree Vietnam. I mentioned about the feeling, the sentiments of the American people towards Vietnamese people to assist and help doing away with the legacy of war. We talk about the legacy of war. It's a simple word, but it's not easy to do away with that. The legacy remains in our minds and hearts. Legacy remains in the field where unexploded ordnance are remaining there. But it's lucky that our two people, the American people and Vietnamese people, are peace lovers. After up and down in our relation during the conflicts, we realized that the only way we can serve our people, our nation, is to live together with each other, to work together, cooperate to make our ties stronger, to make our people happier and enjoyable. That's why in 1995, under President Bill Clinton, we normalized our relations. And President Bill Clinton and President Bush, after 8 years in office, they both worked hard for the promotion of relations. I can tell you this, we are enjoying the best time in the history of our relation on every aspect. When I presented my credential to President Bush earlier this year, he told me, and I agree with his opinion, that we were enemies in the past. Now we are partners, and we are natural allies. I endorse that, because we both want to leave past aside, work for the future, and make the future better and better. Because of that, in the last 4 years, politically we have an excellent relations of cooperation. Our leaders, the President of the United States, the President and Prime Minister of Vietnam, met regularly every year. In 2005, our Prime Minister visited the United States. His first ever leader of Vietnam visited the country. 2006, President Bush visited Vietnam. And it was interesting that, let me tell you here, it's off record. He was there at the occasion of the APEC summit. And I was the first Deputy Foreign Affairs Commander-in-Chief of the organization of the APEC summit. I learned that President Bush was a little bit worried before coming to Vietnam. He told his aides that what and how the Vietnamese react when they saw him. But he was treated well, warmly welcome, because he's the representative of American people and nation. Security is very tight. but he opened his car to shake hands and talk to the people in the street. When he was about to leave Vietnam from Ho Chi Minh City, he told the press conference that if I was young, I would put my money to Vietnam and work here. I don't know how much money he has. But since then, it changed him a lot, like many other Americans. And whereas in Vietnam, there's no demonstration against him. But leaving Ho Chi Minh City to Jakarta, he faced with big delegation against U.S. President. Giving you that example, I want to tell you that the sentiment, the culture, the feeling of the Vietnamese are very unique. We love everyone. We fight because we must fight for independence. But we love peace, we love friendship, and we love to work with everyone all over the world. On the security cooperation, let me tell you that we have an excellent relation between the United States. We are side by side with you to fight against terrorism. We are together with you to tackle and, if possible, solve the world problem. CIA, FBI have excellent relations with our police. I got a colonel who is the liaison officers of police of Vietnam working with CIA and FBI in Washington. On the military aspect, in the old times, the soldiers of the two sides fought against each other. But now, U.S. warships are coming to Vietnam and visit annually. The two defense departments have a forum of dialogues every year. The next one will be in November. And after the visit of my Prime Minister, Nguyen Thanh Dung, last June, the two sides agreed to set up a strategic dialogue on the security, political, and military. And the first meeting of that forum took place in Hanoi on the 6th of October. With all these going on, I'm sure that we can be a good counterparts. We are good allies in the issues that we share the common views, common interests. On the economic, I try to be very brief because economic, trade, investment has been going on so marvelously since we normalized relations. But just one example. 2001, when we signed the bilateral trade agreement with the United States, our trade volume is only 1.5 billion. 6 years later, by 2007, the trade volume increased 600%. And U.S. now is our biggest market of export. My commercial counsel told me that we intend, or he planned, to increase the trade volume by 15 billion by 2010. We try to do that. Investment, U.S. now is only fifth biggest investors to Vietnam. But look around here, a lot of business people are still having a lot of money. They will come to Vietnam sometime, I'm sure. Touring around the country, a lot of business delegations are going to Vietnam. Small delegation, big delegation, biggest might be 70, 75 persons. So I think, and I plan to make U.S. investors become the #1 foreign investor in Vietnam in the next few years. I think I can do that, providing you support me, you assist me. Because you can do and can do much more than what you are doing now. On science and technology, we got a good assistance and support from the United States. We had a mechanism, a working group on cooperation on science and technology. On education, it's good that I talked to some universities here. I want to go to all the universities in Washington State, but I didn't have time. I went to Washington University this morning and to many other universities around the country, signing some MOU, contracts of cooperation. And we are trying to make the educational cooperation between the two countries be one of the most productive aspects of cooperation. We set up, the two countries set up a task force on educational cooperation. And also its first meeting took place in Hanoi late September. They discussed a lot of things, steps, measures to push forward the cooperation. Even they talk about setting U.S. universities in Vietnam, which my government warmly supports. But education is one of our priority. In the last 20 years, we've done a good job to boost our economy. But with what we have now in our education system, we can reach our target in the next 20 years. We need our people well trained. We need higher education. We need more masters, doctors, engineers, intellectuals, experts, so that they can help to develop the economy. And U.S. is the place, and to lay stress on, U.S. is the place where our government looking at as good land for education, good land for cooperation with Vietnam on this particular important aspect.
Would you be able to stay around a little bit to answer some questions?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. The ambassadors agreed to stay around a little bit afterwards to answer any of your questions. So thank you so much.
So before concluding, there's one thing I have to talk about Rotary Club. Rotary Club had relations with part of Vietnam a long time ago. It has got relations with the United Vietnam. When I was in Bangkok, I met with the people there from Rotary. When I was back in Hanoi, acting as the first Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, I got a number of times to talk with the Rotary people and Rotary representatives for the reactivation of relation between Rotary and Vietnam. we are having internal discussion on this. And I hope we will have positive response in the time to come. And on this occasion, I'd like to thank the Rotary Club. Though we haven't got relation officially with Vietnam, but you have done a lot to the Vietnamese people, to the Vietnamese children, to the Vietnamese communities, my government, my people, and myself are thankful for that. And we expect we'll continue to do anything that can help Vietnam in its development, in its rising up of the young generation. Thank you, and I'm ready to take your question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will just close the meeting, and then they can meet with you down below. Thank you. Thank you very much for being a part of our meeting today. Special thanks to all of the program participants. Welcome, Peter and Julie. Dick and Sharon, thank you so much for sharing your stories. Ambassador, thank you for being with us today. It is through conversation, shared projects, common values, all of this leads to reconciliation between our thoughts, our emotions, and our very spirit, which leads to peace and to healing. Next week, October 22nd, we are back here at the Red Lion. Harriet Fulbright from the Fulbright program will be our main speaker, thanks to Anne Marie Gimbel from the University of Washington. Our short segment will be by Governor Christine Gregoire, who will share her campaign promises. The following week, Dino Rossi will have the same opportunity, so it should be an interesting election time. See you next week. We are adjourned.
Seattle Rotary Online is made possible in part by a grant from First Choice Health, working with the Washington Health Information Collaborative to use technology to bring better health care to patients throughout the Pacific Northwest. First Choice Health.